Hi, I'm Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this is a video series called Dilemmas of Small Business Gurus. And my intention is for each of you who are viewing these videos and perhaps listening to the audios, is that you're seeing that every one of the guests on the show are people who are keen about developing their businesses, and that makes them on the path to being a small business guru, just like you. So any part of our business life that we're moving to improve or expand is helping us generate that place of competence and expertise. So this morning I am visiting with Elissa Fesyk, who happens to be a great individual person and happens to be my daughter. Hi, Elissa.
Hey.
So first of all, tell us the name of your business.
The name of my business is Fesyk Marketing and Events.
Okay. And where are you located?
I'm located in Edmonton, Alberta.
Okay, excellent. And tell me a little bit about what you're doing as a marketing expert in your field. What are you doing?
I do a lot of business development right now and research. I work mainly for one client and support their event and marketing business. So I do some like legitimate marketing, but a lot of business development. My other client, I do social media and marketing support.
So as a business development, what is that actually? Because in a sense, as we're talking to you about some of your particular dilemmas, perhaps there's people in the audience that are like, well, people say I need a business developer or I need this. And what is that you're doing when you're doing business development?
I think business development is a really broad way of saying it. There's a lot of different ways to build a business. What I do is I'm helping my client to generate a stream of passive income online. So that entails finding opportunities to do podcasts. That entails researching and finding opportunities for her to guest blog, figuring out which are the best ways for her to generate money through her website, whether it's through advertising, affiliate marketing, and blogging, or ebooks. So that's mainly what I'm working on right now.
Okay, great. Great. Thanks for that clarification. Because again, like I said, there's so many people that are going, okay, so I want to develop passive income. I want to develop and expand my business to reach a greater audience or be more visible. So that's what business developers do.
Yes.
And we want to be clear about right now, Elissa is not taking any more clients. She's really happy with what she's doing, and partly because she's a mom and a lot of other things. so that work balance life is what you've got right at this moment.
Yeah.
Excellent. So one of the reasons that I thought it would be fun to talk to Elissa today on this series is that Elissa is an extrovert, and so being an extrovert has its upsides and its not so upsides. So Elissa, can you tell us a little bit about what it's like for you? So what is an extrovert anyway? Because people might go, I don't know what that is. I don't know if I'm one of those. I don't know how it's impacting my life. So what's it for you? What's an introvert? Or I'm sorry, an extrovert.
To me, well, being an extrovert to me is just that I like to be around people, and I get energy from working around people and having people to bounce ideas off of, and just be around during the workday and evening and in my life. My ratio of needing time to myself versus time around people is probably skewed a lot towards spending time with people. Great.
And I think one of the elements of it's like, how do you know you're an extrovert is, like you said earlier, you get fueled and energized by being around people, where introverts, so we'll talk to an introvert shortly in another interview, introverts get energized by being alone. So you have chosen to have a home office. You're not around people during your day. What's that like for you as an extrovert? to be in a home office or even choose to be in a home office?
In some ways, it's amazing. It is fantastic. It suits my lifestyle in that I can take my son to school or to camp and come home and do work, and I make my own hours, and there's a lot of flexibility in that. I can travel and work while I'm traveling. So the benefits are fantastic. I'm still adjusting to working alone though, and every day I try to figure out new ways to make it work. If I'm very, very busy, if my task list is a page long and I have several meetings through the day, that is perfect. But if I have broad projects that are ongoing and I should be working on, I need to take a lot of breaks and stay really focused. Often the best thing for me to do is to go and work in a coffee shop for a few hours. I also often listen to talk radio and have sound in the background. I'm still really figuring out what works best for me, but that's how I'm working into it right now. We just moved, so we just arrived in Edmonton a little while ago, and there's still a lot of other stuff going on. So work-life balance is complicated right now.
It's in the balance. So what's it like as you're adjusting, and like you said, you're getting clearer about, okay, when I'm excuse me, my nose itches. When you have a long task list and the details are clear and you are in a sense immersed in those activities, or you're in meetings, you are stimulated enough that it's great, you're happy. But when it's like, oh, I got to work on this and I got to work on that, where it's not clear, what's that like inside of you that, in a sense, has you have to take more breaks? Like, what happens while you're sitting there in the midst of sort of this more foggy kind of work list?
You know, if I don't take regularly scheduled breaks in that environment, I spend a lot more time on Facebook and Twitter. It's like enough of a social fix, but it's almost addictive too, right? Because you're like, oh, I don't know what to do next, and this project's boring, and I'll just see what my friends are up to online, and maybe have a chat here or there.
Right.
Rather than breaking it up and saying, okay, I'm going to take 20 minutes and I'm going to call a friend, or I'm going to send an email to this person, and break it up in a much more productive way.
Right. I think that's just really really great to be able to see, in a sense, that, you know, part of this aspect of you, which is socially connecting and is like so important to your well-being, to connect to people, that you are actually it's like you have outlets to make that happen, and you're aware of the ones that actually support and empower you to get the work done or to stay engaged in the work, and those that are a distraction, in a sense, a distraction. They're useful and important for you to get that extrovert balance, but at the same time, they can lead you astray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for you, and it was funny that one of the reasons that Elissa and I started talking about this was we were talking about when you're home. And like you said, you listen to talk radio. We talked about that there's potentially an app of coffee shop noises that help you get a sense that you're out and about when you're actually, you know, in your home office. What are some other things that you do? What are some things that you do when you're in that place of needing that extrovert fix, if you will?
Call my husband and see how his day's going.
Call your mom.
Call her mom, check in. No, actually, what I'll do for breaks is often start to get dinner ready and do something a little bit creative. I've also been coloring. I have an adult mindfulness coloring book that kind of helps me get away from my extrovert mind and into my more focused and introvert mind. That's been very helpful to me.
Excellent. I think this is a really interesting point, because I think that we see people, or say, you know, people, I'm an extrovert or I'm an introvert. And I think that there's a degree of both, if you will, and the Myers-Briggs talks about people who are extroverts or introverts. But what's the degree to which you think, or you experience yourself to be that extrovert? And like you said, this helps me connect with my introvert side. What would you say is, sort of 50-50, 80-20? What's your sense of how much of one and how much of the other?
Probably 70-30, depending on the day. Sometimes it's much higher than that, where I feel just like I need to be around people. But 30% is probably the most introvert I am.
On any one day. I think it's really good to know, because it's again, people tend to assess themselves as this or that, and if we can say, oh well, I think that there is that part of me that needs some downtime, that needs something that kind of calms me down in that way that I need as an introvert, or an extrovert, that then you have access, you create access to that, like through coloring or yoga or meditations or walk. For me, it's a walk in the woods, right? So those kinds of things that really support. And one of the words you used the other day in our conversation was, I need to decompress. In a sense, the work life is such that the need to decompress, I thought, was a great way of articulating that place where our mind just gets too full. And as people who are working on our with ourselves, then we have to be, in a sense, self-accountable, self-regulating in terms of how we move towards how do we decompress. And since we don't have that 10 o'clock coffee break or that lunchtime that's a specific hour, we have to really self-regulate that.
Yeah, for sure.
So as a small business owner and having responsibility for your clients, let's just talk about that in terms of self-regulating you, not only in terms of your requirements as an extrovert, but also how you self-regulate so that there's that balance for yourself.
Well, I love deadlines. So if one of my clients gives me a deadline, I'll get it done. Like, I'm all about it. If you give me a loose deadline, like work on it when you have time, that is very difficult for me. So, even if it's a fabricated deadline of like, could you get this to me by Monday? That makes me work that much harder and make sure it gets done.
Excellent. So if that need, again, for all of us who are watching this, it's like looking at that element of our responsibilities to ourselves and our business is like, how do I work best? What do I need to make this process of being a small business guru? What makes this the most valuable and the most fun for me? So let's talk about that for a minute, and then we'll let you go, get back to work. Okay. What is most fun for you about being a small business owner? You've worked for some pretty highfalutin companies.
And I've loved it, and I think about it a lot, actually. And is this the right path for me as a small business owner, or really should I go back into the 9-to-5 workforce and go into an office and be around people all the time? And for the place that we are in our lives and our family is, it's important that I be able to establish this business here. In the past, we've moved around a lot, and so this is an opportunity to really take something that I can carry around with me if we move again. Like I said before, taking vacations and travel is a really big, important priority in the life of my husband and my son and I. And so having a small business that is mine alone, I can do my work wherever we go, and it's a wonderful way of life. Don't have to worry about after school pickups and things like that. I make my own schedule. So I really plan on seeing this through.
Excellent. And what I like what you're saying is like you're really happy in that corporate environment or that business environment where there's a lot of stimulation, a lot of people, and this also gives you a lot of freedom, fun, and flexibility. And you're trying it out, and you're fully committed to making it work because of the advantages. And you're also open to, if this doesn't work for whatever reasons, that you'd switch back to going back to work, if that, at a company, if that was what felt right for you.
I would. And you bring up a really good point with the word fun, because that is the most important thing to me in the work that I do. So while working in an office is fun, and there's a lot of good things that can come out of that, there's more fun to be had as a small business owner, I think, in the big picture. It's just the beginning part and the growing pains that I have to see through and figure out a way to give my extrovert self some extra love and more people around.
Awesome. It's that balancing again of here's my commitment to working at home and maintaining the work-life balance, and this other part of me that really needs a little more stimulation and a little bit more social engagement. Mm-hmm. So attending to that keeps you having fun in far more ways. And it's one of the things I really like about you, is that there's so many opportunities to have fun in your life, and I just really admire you for that.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Elissa, thanks for joining us and talking about us. Again, the name of your company is?
Fesyk Marketing and Events.
Fesyk Marketing and Events. And don't call her because she's not taking any clients, but later down the road, you might want to remember and give her a call. All right. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.